So, is there such thing as a happy life? uh, I've been thinking about this ever since I did the video on what is happiness, and it kept pulling me back to the same question at the end of the day. Is there really something as a happy life? Well, uh, different people have different examples of what is a happy life, and it does it really exist. Take for example Aristotle. Aristotle said happiness is the whole point of life. Okay, uh, the final. He said it's the final aim of existence. Not happiness like a mood, but he's talking about eudaimonia, what we discussed about in the last video. I'll link it up. A fulfilled life, per se, a life well lived. For Aristotle, happiness is what you get when you become everything you were capable of as a rational human being. As a rational human being. Now, and there's the key part. It's the only thing that we want purely for its own sake. No motives, no ulterior motives. Because think about it today. We exercise because we want to be healthy. We work because we need the money. We study because we want the skills. We want to stand out. We want to get the best job. We dress good because we want to impress. So everything else is a means to get something else. But according to Aristotle, happiness is not it. Happiness is the end. So it's not given to you. This happiness is not handed to you. It's not by status. It's not by the color of your passport. It's not by the color of your skin. It's not by a new car. Every single day you build it, and it becomes a habit of you. But now, if we turn the tables around, we get Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer comes in and pulls the rug out of your feet. He he believed there's a force underneath everything we do. He called it the will. Now, not the will, not the willpower, not like willpower to do something, but it's something deeper. Okay, it's like a base instinct. He called it a blind. He said there's a blind push in all of us to want and want and want again, with no final destination, with no end. And the hurtful part is we are self-aware of everything that we do, so we get to watch ourselves endlessly in real time, want and want and want and want without an end. So for Schopenhauer, lack is suffering. Okay, when you want something because you lack it, and when you finally get it, the joy is real, but it's brief. It's just for a short period of time. It fades away after some time, and what fills the space after? It's boredom. Now, if you get like a new car, or you get a new phone as a gift or a present, that excitement is there for the maybe first phase or first week, maybe a month or so while using the new device. But after that, you become acclimated to it, you become used to it, and eventually you become bored. Sometimes the only reason why we don't switch phones every 6 months is the financial aspect. So the next thing that fills your mind is the boredom. You become bored of the device, you become bored of what you got. And this boredom now breeds a new want. It breeds a new kink. And that circle starts again. You begin to spiral in that circle. That's why you see some very wealthy, influential men after acquiring so much wealth, they get to do all what they wanted to do all their lives. And then what next? It's they need something new. They need to do something different. Something new. And this is where different things, different imaginations come up. An example is when I think some Somali pirates, when the pirates became intolerable, there were wealthy Russians who would pay to go shoot at these pirates, to kill these pirates. Do you think they're tired of playing golf or something? No, it's because they've done it all and they need something new, something different to fill that boredom. So it's a constant circle. It's a constant circle. So Schopenhauer puts it this way. He says life swings like a pendulum, back and forth between pain and boredom. Happiness, in his view, is not. It's not a destination. Happiness is not. It has never been a destination. It's just a brief silence between two wants. Okay, it's that brief silence between the next one and the previous one, and that challenges everything about the achievement mindset we have, especially back home in Africa. Is it ever enough? Does it ever is it even as human beings, some of us are so like Oliver Twist. Is it ever enough? Is it big enough? Is it small enough? Is it straight enough? Is the money ever enough? So, especially in Africa, we are never satisfied with what we have or with what we get. Okay, so we always ask, is it enough? Does it ever end? We ask these questions. That's why I always term them Oliver Twist. Now, then we have Freud. Is Freud, 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 Freud. Yes, and I'll paraphrase it. I'll paraphrase it here. He says that the intention that man should be happy was never part of the design of creation. His argument goes, it goes like this. He says, from birth, our brains were wired for pleasure and not for pain. Okay, but the wiring was never built to succeed because the universe does not cooperate. For example, we have uh, natural disasters, sicknesses, diseases, our bodies age, we die, we get sick, we lose loved ones, we, we sometimes lose to nature itself. And the second part is that, which is also the bigger issue, is that other people are one of our biggest sources of pain, betrayal, hurt, physical hurt, wars, killings, all of that, so big sources of pain. So what did we do? We built civilizations, we built systems, we built walls, structures to manage the danger that we ourselves, our kind, pose to each other. And the price of that, everything is an exchange. The price of that is that of that safety, of that order, it's repression. We suppress our basic instincts, we suppress our aggression, the desires, our selfishness, sex drive, and all that. We trade them for order, which means the whole system we build, it's a direct opposition to our original basal instincts. I don't know if you are following up here. So we traded pleasure for stability. So Freud, for Freud, what we call unhappiness isn't a mindset problem. It's the cost of a functioning society. It's the cost of peace. It's the cost of order. Okay, so the family, the expectations, that is the cost. Okay, that is the cost. And we can also look at this from a religious standpoint from the Bible. We can look at it from a religious standpoint. Now, if you turn to the Bible, you will get different answers from different books and so on. Now, King Solomon wrote the book of Ecclesiastes, and he was the wisest and wealthiest man of his time, and the wisest in the Bible, as they say. He chased everything: pleasure, wealth, achievement, and wisdom itself. He is famous for asking only for wisdom from God. And what did he say? What was his verdict in the book of Ecclesiastes? He says, vanity of vanities, vanities upon vanities, all is meaningless. Every pursuit, every gain, in the end, it doesn't matter. In the end, it's just like chasing after the wind. But the Bible does not actually stop there, it does not end there. It doesn't say happiness is impossible. It says you've been searching for it in the wrong places, or most times at the wrong times. Okay. In the same in the last video I spoke about Paul. Paul writes that he learned to be content in any and every situation. Like I said before, this matches with um, what we said about building the habit, as Aristotle said about building a habit. Okay, Paul wrote to be content in any and every situation, whether he had plenty, whether he had nothing. Notice the word learned. I said the same thing in the last video about happiness. Learned. For the Bible, happiness is not tied to your circumstances, to your present situations, to it's tied to your relationship with God at that time and the past. Joy is described as a fruit in the Bible, something that grows out of life. That's why Aristotle said a fruit is like the end of the tree, and the seed is the beginning of the new life. So it grows out of life, aligned with Him, aligned with God, not something you have to chase down on your own. It comes with your service with God and your movement with God. So circumstances will change. You have seasons: winter, autumn, summer. They will change, but the joy isn't supposed to move. Okay, it's not supposed to move. We can also look at Buddhism, and here this I had to read a little bit more because this is not my religion, but it gets a little interesting here because it agrees with Schopenhauer on the diagnosis. The first noble truth is quite blunt, same as what Schopenhauer said. It's quite a hit. Life, they said, life is dukkha, as I'll call it. It's suffering, or more precisely, a deep, persistent unsatisfactoriness. Okay. The second noble truth tells you why. From tanha, I think that's the word tanha. It's craving, attachment, binding, the constant grasping for what we don't have, and clinging to what we and what we do, cling to what we do. It sort of sounds familiar to what Schopenhauer was saying. The will, if you remember, we talked about the will to constantly want. Okay, it's now just in a different language in religion itself. But here is where religion breaks away and offers something Schopenhauer never offered or couldn't give. Okay, Buddhism tries to give a way out of this pendulum swing, as we noted up there. It brings about the third noble truth. Okay, it says suffering can end. The third noble truth says suffering can end, and the fourth lays out how. The eightfold path. Okay, right thought, right action, right mindfulness. Not by getting everything you want, not by building towards some final achievement, but by releasing. Okay, by releasing the want itself, the constant want of something. Just release it. So while Aristotle says you build towards happiness, the Bible says you receive it through contentment, as what Paul said. Buddhism says let go of that craving completely, and what's left is peace. If you let go of that craving, that want, if you let it go, what's left is peace as per Buddhism. So we come back to the question, is there such a thing as a happy life? Maybe the real question is whether happiness does exist. Uh, maybe it doesn't, maybe it does, or maybe one of which one are you actually searching for? Which one are you actually searching for? So those are just my thoughts for today. Hopefully next week again I'll have something from the shower for you.